Greetings, I am Tom Merle. Welcome back to this special series of the celebration called Gifts for You. If you haven't yet, I suggest you go back to the very first episode of this series. Not the entire podcast, just this series. That's the first episode that came out in 2022. It'll tell you all about what this series is about. If you don't feel like doing that though, don't worry, my friends. You can jump right in here and still have a great time. Now, just as a reminder, while this intro for this episode might sound very similar to last week's, have no worries. This week we bring you another fresh set of deep, insightful, and meaningful conversations. Today we're going to dive even deeper into this time capsule that we're opening by listening to another set of conversations that I recorded in 2019 just before my daughter was born. And so without further ado, I'll step aside and I hope you enjoy.
Aretha, thank you so much for being a part of this. It means the world to me. Thank you.
No problem.
So the way we're starting is, could you introduce yourself to baby and share what's the story or meaning of your name?
Ooh. Okay. Hello, baby. I am Aretha Scruggs. I'm a friend of your father, Tom, and your mom. My name, Aretha, it's Greek, I believe, and it means righteous one. And that's all I know so far.
How have you sat with it throughout the years?
How I sat with it?
Yeah, like what has it meant to you, or
Okay.
your relationship with the name?
Yeah, well, righteous one. I think I have a strong sense of right and wrong, which is good and bad. But it makes me fight for others. It makes me want to stand up for what I know is right. And so that has shown up in ways like, I fight for my students. I fight for, the different stories and narratives that they tell themselves, and trying to fight for them to find their voice and find that true self, that authentic voice that wants to come out in their speaking or singing voice. But I also do it in, the causes that I feel strongly about. I burns me up inside with the different causes that racism, sexism, all those things. It gives me kind of a righteous anger. And so I find myself in fighting for those things, in getting my master's degree, and thinking about education, in the entertainment industry, just fighting for equality for all people. So that name, Righteous One, just it makes me it is shown up in justice, in fighting for not only other people but for my own voice to be heard. Yeah,
I love that. That's awesome.
yeah.
So you started to talk about that. What advice would you have for baby and finding their voice, owning their voice, all of that kind of stuff?
Okay, baby, there will be so many things in life that will try to take away your voice. My advice for you will be to always return to that sense of self that you came into the world with. Right now, you are in mommy's belly, and you are the most loved being from your mother and your father and all the people who are waiting to meet you. And when you come out, that love will be expressed as you feel their love, as you feel their kisses, as you feel their arms around you, and you feel like the world is so secure. And from that security, from that place of security and love, you are totally free to laugh, to play, to run around, to almost want to run out in the street. You feel such freedom to be your true authentic self, who you came out of the womb to be. But it's in those places in life can tell you the opposite of all of those things. Life can tell you that you are not loved. Life can tell you that resources are scarce. Life can tell you that you're not enough and that nothing you do is right, and that your parents don't love you, and that you're not smart enough. And so in those negatives, you lose that original self that is free, that is totally like who God created you to be. So my advice to you is to always, no matter how old you get, when you turn 16, when you turn 30, when you turn 40 and 50, and your parents are still there and loving you, and my advice would be to lean into that love, to never forget how much that love and that sense of security never leaves you. It's the lies of what the world wants to tell you, that you're not enough and that resources are scarce, that makes you not free. But leaning into that love of mother and father originally, of your grandparents, of the community that you surround yourself with, that is where you will find that original baby, that original most beloved one, where you will find yourself again, your true, authentic self.
I love that. Amen. Thank you.
Okay.
Could you share a little bit about, for you, how did you find your passion and then have the courage to go for it?
How did I find my passion? I think my passion found me. And I think, baby, for you, you'll probably see instances and glimpses of who you will be. Like as you get older and as you're even through a young age, you'll find those things that you love and that you gravitate towards. For me, that was music. I grew up singing since the age of 3 and 4 years old with my family. We were always surrounded by music. My mom is one of 6 girls, and she plays the piano. They were a group, the Pool Sisters. And then, so my mom sort of modeled me and my sisters after her sister. So all 4 of us sang. I'm a twin, and there's 4 girls in my family. So she played for the 4 of us, and my dad played the bass. So we were a traveling family. So from the age of 3 to 18, we were like always on stage performing. So there were parts of it I didn't like, but then the sense of authenticity and creativity that I did find even at that early age is what I came to find later in life again. Not the whole sense of singing on a stage, just singing for entertainment purpose, but being able to communicate and be a part of transformation of people's lives through my voice, through singing. And so it was in singing, after I graduated from college, that I was able to then step into my professional career as a background vocalist. And it was through the challenges of that, of being able to hold my voice on a stage, my natural voice, I found like I was getting sick a lot and my natural voice couldn't take the pressures of performing 2 nights a week. So that's where I found vocal coaching. And so vocal coaching, went through that whole thing and then got certified to do that. So then the coupling of finding my voice on a stage singing, coupled with being able to help others do the same thing in my private practice as a vocal coach, that's where it was the missing link of what originally as a kid I was just singing before. Like it was just singing, and it was sort of like I was expected to entertain people, but it was through the sort of finding the challenge of my natural gift not working on the stage, that the challenge helped me to find a deeper meaning behind just singing, coupled with my faith, believing that I was born with a purpose. God had a purpose for my life. Those things came to help me really hone in and own this gift of singing and how singing could communicate, but also communicate to others that they have a voice, just like I have a voice to share. So that's how I found it, and that's how I live into it every day of my why. Every day of my why is living into that purpose of not only using my voice to sing and communicate myself, but helping others to do that. So I hope that answered the question.
It did. Helping others like me. You helped me prepare the song that I sang at one of Adora's and I's wedding.
Yes, how special.
That was so much fun, and I was so grateful for it.
Yeah.
So, is there anything you want to share, anything on your heart that you want to share that's just unprompted that you just want to speak to for baby?
Yeah. Baby, I am so honored to have known your parents, to have been a part, at least of a little inkling of a conversation when they were just thinking about who you might be and thinking about maybe having a baby, and to now 1 year or more later know that you are on your way and you're knocking on mommy's belly ready to come out. I am so excited to meet you. I know that you have an amazing community that is just waiting to meet you, and amazing, brilliant parents that are waiting to pour their all into you. I just want you to know how much you are loved, that you are so uniquely gifted. Already you have amazing things that have already been planted in you, and I can't wait to see how they express themselves in the world. You have can't wait to see the impact that you will have on this world, and I am just thrilled to have known you before, and can't wait to see you when you come out. So just know that you are special. You are special, and as I tell my own 3-year-old daughter, you are smart. You are beautiful, you are strong, and you are loved. Oh, beloved one. That's all.
I love that. on that note, what can baby turn to you for?
Okay, baby. Baby, you can turn to me for good times. you can turn to me to find the joy in life. Maybe that's too big of an answer, but whatever. You can turn to me to find the silver lining in life. I think I am good at finding ways to adapt to situations and still find the joy in it. You can look to me for babysitting. You can look to me for good laugh. I love to laugh, and I hope that you will love to laugh also. And I look forward to laughing with you. And you can play with my 3-year-old.
and we got the babysitting thing on record, so.
Hey, I get it. Hold me to it, because people be saying all kind of stuff. I'm serious about it. Yeah.
And then my last question for you is, what's your invitation to baby? What would you like to invite baby to consider, to think about, to do, to become? What's your invitation?
My invitation to you, baby, is to consider why God put you on this planet. Out of all the 2 parents that you could have in the world, you got your 2 parents. Out of all the places you could have been born, you are being born in Los Angeles, California. Out of all of these 2 cultures that could come together, your 2 parents' cultures have come together to perfectly create and blend to make you. So my invitation, as you age, as you get older, as you finally listen to this and understand all the people who are lovingly leaving these words for you, my invitation to you is to ask and consider what possibly could God have been thinking when he thought of you. and put you so uniquely crafted you together into this wonderful family, into this city, into this country, into this time for such a time as this. Why has God purposefully created you? And there's my question.
I love that. I'm thinking about that. And, I hope that these interviews provide some context and some trails that you can go down, baby.
That's right.
One of my intentions.
Right. That's beautiful. I love it. I love the idea.
Well, thank you, Aretha. You're the best.
No problem, Tom. I'm honored you asked me to do it.
And we gotta catch up soon. Have a brainstorming session. I missed those.
Let's do it. I'm for it. I'm down for it.
I can't. Oh, baby's due the 26th.
Oh my God! This month.
Yep.
I can't wait to hear if it's a boy or a girl. Oh my gosh, you've been holding it this long. That is pretty awesome.
I can't wait for y'all to meet each other and to hang out and for us to sing some songs together.
Yes, let's do it. Let's do it. Well, this was great, friend.
Well, thanks again, Aretha. I appreciate getting the chance to connect with you and talk about this.
No problem. I'm excited for you.
Thank you, and I'll be in touch. I'll send you pictures.
Okay, please do. Please do. Okay. Well, have a wonderful, and I can't wait to hear what's going on and catch up with you.
I'll let you know. I'll keep you updated.
Okay. All right.
Thanks,
Tom.
Aretha.
No problem. Okay. Bye.
Moses, my brother, thank you so much for being a part of this special project. I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. Glad to be a part of it, be included.
Yeah, definitely. So here's how we start. Could you introduce yourself to my child by sharing your name and what your name means to you?
Oh, I love that question. I actually do this quite a bit with the youth that I work with. It's just we write our names down and we talk about it. So I'm glad I get to introduce myself that way.
I made this icebreaker up. I'm the only one who does it. So don't.
You
don't
taught me this
here.
icebreaker years ago at the museum. And I remember you saying, this is mine. And I made this up. So it was a great invention by you. So full name you want?
Your call.
Okay. So I'll share the first and last name. Moses Milo Weir is my full name. Moses was chosen because I'm the youngest of three brothers, and my parents wanted a strong name. They wanted a name that starts with the letter M, and I forget why. And my brothers' names are Weir and Jasper, so it was not a religious thing necessarily, but they were looking for a strong name, and they actually thought I was going to be a girl. They didn't know until I was born, and they just thought I was going to be a girl, so they settled on the name Ruby. But then I was a boy, and they went a different way. And my mom said the name Moses came to her, and they talked about it, and they loved it, so they went with Moses. The reason I'm skipping my middle name, because I don't know if there's a long story behind it. I think there is, and I forgot it, so that's not interesting. My last name is Weir, W-E-I-R. And I, originally my dad, before they came over, his family's Polish. And so the name before shortened was Wierzbicki, and W-I-E-R-Z-B-I-C-K-I. And my dad was born in Paris, 1940. And so by the time they escaped Nazi ruled Europe and Paris and the surrounding areas, we came through Ellis Island, and they shortened the name from Wierzbicki to Weir. And so that's where we're at now is Weir. The E and the I switch, so Weir. My dad still had a lot of love for the Zvicki part of it, and so his license plate actually used to be ZBICKI, to remember that part of the name.
Well, I appreciate that. That was dope. You can tell you've done this because you got a lot of it thought out, so I appreciate that. Why don't we jump in right there? I know it's a serious way to start, and
Let's do it.
But some things that you and my child have in common is you're just describing your grandparents were Holocaust survivors.
Yeah.
Whereas my child, their grandparents on their mom's side, are survivors of the Biafran War. So similar in terms of the intergenerational impact that war and genocide can have. So how do you reflect upon that, or how do you see it playing out in your family, or just any thoughts you want to share on that?
Sure. It's a really good question. So I have not seen it. It didn't have a big impact of my life that I knew for a while. And the older I get and the longer I reflect on it, thinking of stories where my grandmother, who was a survivor, at the end of her life, she had dementia, and the thing she would remember was Nazi Germany. And she would always have her purse with her, clenching it tight. She'd be very, I don't know if skeptical is the right word, considering what she's been through, right? But she's always been very aware of what's going on. For example, when she was older and would get medical attention, she wouldn't let anyone put anything in her mouth, any pills, anything, because she was just concerned, and that reminded her of being of people trying to wipe her out. So that was a big thing. I also think about not knowing a lot of my dad's family and just thinking he didn't have a big family for a while, and then realizing that's actually probably not true. And he knows now and has talked about quite a bit. A lot of his family was wiped out. And so whether he knew them or not, and so that's actually why he had a small family, from my understanding, right? Growing up, not knowing them. And so then my dad, his first memory was being in his neighbor's house and seeing the couch be lifted up and kids running in the couch to hide. And I didn't know this until a lot more recently, a couple of years ago when he told me. And the reason it came up is because his stance on some political issues, his stance on Israel as a Jew, is not unusual, but it's different than mine is in a lot of ways. In the sense of he's like very against Israel and the settlements there, because his take is, how could we do to others what was done to us? That's how he sees it. So for him, that plays a big role in who he is now and what he believes. So that's how I've kind of seen it a lot. And then I'm just very, very proud of who I am and my background, history, culture, religion, because I know the fight and I've learned the strength and power that comes with being survivors in that way.
Well, I appreciate that, brother. I think, so much of life and culture and history is passed down in oral tradition. So I appreciate you sharing your families with me and my child. That means a lot. So thank you.
Absolutely. Glad I could.
So, one thing that comes up for, religious minorities in the United States is this worry that through assimilation, we'll lose our traditions, our culture, our practices, especially with Islamophobia and anti-Semitism. Right now, the year my child's being born in are continually rising. How do you practice your Judaism? How do you reflect upon it. What does it look like in your life? Anything you want to share with, with my child would be awesome.
Yeah, it's a really interesting because the history is the history of Judaism was so much more religious than it is today. So many more people would pray more often, were more connected to the religious aspect of it. Where today, the way I've seen it being played out is so much about culture, relationship, family, friends, and what that looks like. It's way more secular today than it was 100 years ago, than it was 50 years ago. All my grandparents knew how to daven, how to pray. And that's something that's been lost generationally. But we are so proud of who we are. By we, I mean my family, both immediate and extended in that way. And it's just such a strong connection when I see other people that identify like me. I feel welcome in most, if not all, synagogues in the world. I've been outside of the U.S. and it's still very welcoming to me as a Jew, right? And I understand that could be different for other folks that walk in, but that's always felt good. And I think that gets stronger in times of when anti-Semitism is on the rise, right? So it's been really cool to be a part of that community that has a understanding, a love, appreciation for each other. And that deepens when we're attacked. Did I answer the question?
You did. Yeah. I mean, I think it's all this is really just about like the diversity of my baby's community. So it doesn't have to be answers as much as just a different introduction to thoughts and perspectives and seeing how broad the world is and how broad of support there is to draw from. So
I was going to say, on that note, I'll also say that growing up in LA, it was not unusual to be Jewish, right? And in my classes, there was always a lot of Jews everywhere, and that was LA. And moving to Portland, I realized that's not the case at all. And so people are like, what? You're Jewish? What does that mean? What do you do? Who are you? You're the first Jewish person I've met, which I never heard in LA. And so being able to share it with other people, I've definitely felt more responsible. Like I should know the religion better. And, I've become the spokesperson, which is not uncommon at all by any means for anyone outside of the cultural norm in any identity or category. And so I've just seen that more. It's been an opportunity also to share more about myself, my culture, my background, and also pique curiosity in ways too, which has been kind of cool and frustrating for sure, but it's been a good experience.
So, grandma, my child's grandma, my mom, social worker. So the social worker pride in the family will run strong, but it's always helpful. I think especially in the nonprofit social work field, you don't see a lot of us men choosing this profession.
Right.
So can you share a little bit about why you chose to be a social worker, what it looks like in your life, why you chose it? Do a real nice propaganda job, okay?
Oh, stay far away. No, I will, and it is 4:58, so I want to respect and honor your time. So I'll make it relatively quick. So for me, it was
a little over.
Growing up in LA.
I texted the person I'm going to be 5 minutes late, so take your time. I just got one more question after this, so do your thing.
Okay. It was for me growing up in LA, seeing the wide range of opportunity afforded to different people depending solely on identity, and me falling at that like the highest amount of opportunity because of who I am by no choice or anything, right? So just seeing how messed up that was and thinking, what can I do? Is there any way to give back in who I am and use my voice, my privilege in a way that can benefit other folks and be in community with other folks and just listen and be, and the power of that, and the power of seeing people that don't look like me welcome me and trust me into their community and with their lives and words and stories has been beautiful and so powerful for me as someone that had that, as someone that had that opportunity to realize how much privilege I have, and to know that none of that gets you the real relationship and connection you have with people, which social work can offer.
So, is that your baby?
You can hear my baby, yeah.
Oh, they're gonna be best friends.
I hope so.
Do you want to introduce them?
My baby girl?
Yeah. To my child?
Like right now?
Yeah.
Lily, say hi. Say hi. Yeah. She's saying hi, you just can't see it.
And what's your daughter's name?
Lily.
Well,
Liliana. Her name is great. Her name is Liliana after Opal, which is Chacha's mom. After her name is Lillian, so we named her after her, Liliana. And her middle name is Livia, which means lioness in Hebrew, because it was important to me to have a Jewish name and my last name.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, here's my last question. I got two last questions. So these are quick ones for you.
Okay.
To fill in the blank. So you can turn to me whenever you need to talk about, whenever you need to come to someone for, whenever you'd like. What's your fill in the blank for that?
Someone to listen that's not mom and dad, because mom and dad are pretty good listeners also. Sometimes you need someone out of the family.
I love that. And last question, what's your invitation to my baby? What do you want to invite them to do, to be, to think about, to consider? What's your invitation?
To Portland. No, also to Portland, and I invite them to think about who they are deeply, because they come from kings and queens.
I appreciate you, brother.
I can't about that in school.
Oh, sorry, I interrupted you. Keep going.
No. You're done. Keep going.
I look forward to our families getting to hang out and cause some ruckus, eat some good food.
Yeah.
I look forward to it.
Sounds great.
All right, brother. Love you.
Love you too. Appreciate the call. We'll talk soon.
Talk soon.
Bye.
I hope you enjoyed the conversations that I'm sharing with you this week. And I hope you return again next week to continue this series, Gifts for You, and continue to receive the insights, the messages, and if I can use the word again, the gifts that each conversation is ready to share with you. My friends, I thank you for being here with us this week, and I look forward to you returning again next week for the next edition of Gifts for You. As always, I'm wishing you peace and blessings. See you next week. Thank you.
One more thing. I'd love to continue the conversation. Feel free to join me at tomearl.com/join. Subscribe below, or let's connect on social media. Tom Earl Artist. Thanks again for watching.